Hi everyone, I'm Ed with Double GDP. I just wanted to share my latest design updates. This is a few design provocation that would be used as conversation starters. This is something that I've done with Nolan and Jay in mind as they prepare to go to Nkwashi and interview users and get a little bit of insight. Uh, this was a good way to put some quick ideas there that's not fully fleshed out, but at least something that we could get some quick reactions on and see what's worth pursuing further, and eventually maybe come up with a fully thought out feature. And so some of those items are safety, incentivized payment, reward and ranking system, and there also post-entry feedback. It's something that I kind of snuck there. And a little bit of ideas on other potential features or things that we would want to track and give the ability for the user to see. Will be like their progress, fuel management, and then maybe some fun activities for the users. So from a very high level, again, these are in the spirit of just getting quick reactions, not fully flushed out. In this document, I've also had a brainstorming session with Jay and Nolan, who added comments and added additional ideas for each section. For the sake of this update, I'm just going to try to keep it as short as possible and focus on my initial thoughts so that anyone on the team could access this document. And I'll also maybe add a link here in the YouTube description, a link to this document, so that also anyone could at least access it, view it, and at least put some comments. I only gave Nolan and Jay editing capability for this, but I think other people, anyone else could be commenting. All right, so let's dig in a little deeper. So starting with safety, again, initial thought, some of the principles here was to make this something very quick and very simple, something that you should be able to access with very little clicks and without having to dig in too far. So we have like a safety badge that's there all time. When you're on the home page, you hit that safety badge, you open an action sheet, that's your safety kit. There you have panic button, family circle, which could also just be your circle, my circle. So don't focus too much on the content there that I use or the copywriting, and then reporting suspicious activity. And in this example, I went a little bit further and try to think about what the panic button would be, because this is something I know in our meeting with Muya, something that he was really interested in. And so in this case, this button probably shouldn't be called panic button, because this is not something that the user would tap in, on when there is panic, right? So the way that I'm thinking of this is, first, you're feeling unsafe. Let's say in this scenario, this is a young woman who is going out on the weekend. It's late, and she doesn't have anyone to walk her to the gate. She maybe order a ride or something, or meeting a friend at the gate. She has to walk 5 minutes to get to the gate, and she doesn't feel completely safe. So what she does is she holds the button, and once she gets to safety, she arrives to the gate, she has a way to cancel that command and everything is fine. But let's say someone pops out of nowhere and she's in distress. the moment she releases that button, whether it's because her phone fell out of her hand or something that she's actually doing intentionally, the moment she releases that button, there is a short countdown, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and then help is sent at that location. And in this case, again, one of the things with safety is that we wouldn't want to give the monopoly of safety to only the guards. It should be focused on providing as much safety as possible. And if that means we have to tap into the community to help keep us safe, then that's what we're doing here. So in the spirit of that, your family circle also is informed, right? So let's say you're in a home, you're getting to that gate. Let's say you have your dad in your family circle, or your friend in your family circle, or your neighbor in your circle. You know, that person also would be informed, right? So you have an additional layer there to keep you safe on top of the guards provided by the community. So that was my thinking there. Now moving on to incentivized payment. Some of the initial thoughts there was to just give the user a little visual on their progress, on their overall progress. So the overall goal, which is you want to pay down your entire home, and basically how far along are you? So let's, in this case, you're like almost halfway through. And then, we'll also have like a systems like milestones, so that those are serving as micro steps for the bigger goal. So it's a little bit easier to see that light at the end of the tunnel. Because one of the things that came up that we also shared during our interview was that, after 2 years, users get a little bit exhausted and aren't as on point with their payments and aren't very mindful of making those payments on time. So maybe something to encourage them to keep up with those payments. An idea, some of the inspiration there was the Human app. This is an app that I use that sort of keep track of my level of activities. So trying to do at least 30 minutes of high intensity activities. And so it keeps a streak. So imagine after 100 days of having at least 30 minutes of high intensity activities, is tracking that every day you've reached at least that, every day you've completed, you've reached that milestone. You bring a streak of 100 days, and then, one day you only did 20 minutes of high intensity activities, and now you just broke that 100-day streak to go back to 0 day, and now you have to rebuild it again. So in the spirit of, reinforcing that, maybe streak would be something that would help with incentivized payments. And then, here, maybe once you make a payment, you get reinforcing data that, hey, here, how far along you are. Maybe this is how close you are to get the next milestone, which could be in a form of a reward or a form of a celebration, something like that. And then here, one more thing that I added is like a notification as maybe a reminder. So like, let's say you 2 days close to your payment being due, or a day close to your payment being due, we send you a small notification to encourage you to maintain your on-time payment streak. Yeah, so something like that. Now, a little bit further down ranking, I'm going to start with this part because it's kind of this isolated item that I just added towards the end. So it's not related to rewards, but this is post-entry feedback. Like, you enter the community. We show this little modal with the picture of the guard name, and basically rate your encounter with the guard. And so you could dismiss it and you could just put a rating there. And this is really designed to sort of encourage a feedback every time, which will be different from a design that would say, you know, you've entered the community, and then, maybe something that says report a problem, right? Because that design wouldn't be encouraging to give feedback every single time. It'll be more like, hey, if there is a problem, let us know. But I think in the spirit of wanting to hold also to create more accountability, a system that holds the guards accountable, which was something I know very important for Nkwashi, uh, was that, hey, every time you get in, you get that little modal, and you basically put a rating there. And that rating would be something that, you would have the guard name, and it will be specific to that guard. And at the end, you can, I think the guards, uh, it'll force the guards to be more mindful about the interaction that they have, maybe, and being more professional, which I know was a concern for Muya. Okay, so now going back to reward. So reward, I came up with some sort of ranking. Please don't mind the naming that I use. I just use bronze, silver, gold, diamond, because that's kind of universal and everyone knows that. But it could be any naming that doesn't emphasize the status as much, right? But that still gives you a sense of, okay, I'm accomplished. I've accomplished a good. I'm an exemplary member, right? Versus, I'm new and I have a little bit more progress to make. But again, it may not even be the right direction in terms of reward system, but just some initial thoughts there. So let's say you reach a milestone, you just made, I don't know, 2 years of payments, on time payments. You've never been late. You get this little celebratory pop up. Congrats, you're now a gold member. Your new benefits, and then gives you some sort of value prop of being a gold member, whatever those benefits end up being. And then you could be done, or another option could be you could either be done, or you could also want to dig in a little deeper. And so you would hit compare, so you could see for each level the benefits that comes along. So for bronze, for silver, for gold, for diamond. And then here, in the spirit of progress reinforcement, you can see your status. You get sort of this little badge with your status, nice and bold. Maybe something to reinforce. It will say since whatever date, and then your name. This is something inspired actually by Acorn, as they use this format to encourage users to fully set up their account, because those users who fully set up their account are much more likely to stay engaged. Inspired by that, I kind of came up with something where, like, and please take this with a grain of salt. This is just some initial thinking, but what I was thinking is, like, you make six payments on time. That's, check. Make 12 payments on time. That's check for silver. Make 24 payments on time. That's check. That qualifies you for gold. Pay in full. That qualifies you for diamond, right? So that could be something there. And then the rest, this is from our brainstorm session with Jay and Nolan, and additional comments that they've added for each section. This is specific to the ranking session, the ranking and reward section, actually. And then this is more thoughts around what would qualify, what would be the benefits for each. And I think this is more of a hybrid between uh, the design side and the design and user side versus the business side, which I think this is more something that will be up to Nkwashi themselves and something that would have to determine in collaboration with them. But I just wanted to put some placeholders there just to start the conversation. But yeah, more to come. Please take this with a grain of salt. And then additional things that we kind of want to think about. Progress. How do we keep showing progress, not only from a individual standpoint, but also from a community standpoint? And then fuel management, it's something important. Some of the thoughts there were like maybe alert system, things like that. And then what could be some type of fun activities for everyone? Maybe scavenger hunt or, things like that. Okay, so that's what I have so far in terms of early conversation starters. I'll be adding to this document. Feel free to please add any comments or even add to this document. I will give editing capability to the team, and anyone outside of the team who would be interested in leaving comments could. So that's that. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.